guys vaccinated?
Yep.
Are you vaccinated? Are you vaccinated for COVID? Oh, okay. CRT, everybody was vaccinated, so we took our masks off.
I'm gonna guess that Randy is not going to make it. I just texted him. I want to see if he responds.
Oh, great. He was sick last night. We had board of review.
Oh,
And he had to send his uncle that works with him because he got his COVID shot and he's having some really bad reactions. I've heard that younger people have worse reactions than us old guys. So anyway, he was sick last night. So.
Hey, Austin, before we begin the 312 bus yesterday, the LED sign was like falling down in the cavity.
Good to know. Good to know. We'll fix that at lunch today. That thing, we've been having some issues with the marquee on that one.
Yeah, I saw it on the way out of town. I was like, what the heck? So,
yeah, we're doing new brakes in the normal community bus. We have that one out on the road right now, but that thing's on its last leg. It's done well for us since 2011. So.
Yeah, just for the record, folks, we're waiting on Randy. If he is not here shortly, I guess I'll be carrying the check.
While I'm putting together the minutes here, other than Randy, is there anybody that we know is missing other than Krista?
I think we've got everybody. The phone number is go. The phone number is unable.
I have no response.
Today, we also have John Douglas, our operations supervisor. I just have him on the call. That's the J. Douglas in the corner.
I'm gonna go ahead and as former chair of the city committee, I'll chair today's meeting. I'll be doing a little jumping around with my glasses to focal length. But I'd like to call a meeting, the trans meeting to order. Start with call the roll. I believe we have everybody except for Randy. I would entertain a motion to approve minutes.
I'm over it.
Brian moved. Do I have a second?
second,
There's a hard vote. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. No public hearing. Nothing placed to the chair. We don't have any public comment, do we? Sound like it? Right on number 2 staff report. Awesome.
Randy, if I don't have sharing permissions, if I could get them, please. There we go. Thank you. All right, on the agenda for today, electric bus charger details that we finalized, the ridership between March and April. A couple big points that I'm going to hit today is a proposed change to a 1-hour community route and a proposed free fare community route. Attached in everybody's bundles this week, and I got it on the agenda correctly this month, since I did not last, is the Title VI discussion, just updating myself as a point of contact and getting us up to date with the DOT Title VI plan. Electric bus charger details. We talked a lot last month about doing 2 level 3 50 kilowatt fast chargers on the right side of the screen. With what WisDOT has in the budget, we were also on the fence about getting 2 25 kilowatt chargers on the left side of the screen. Our biggest concern was not charging fast enough during a lunch hour, or being able to charge a large bus if they ever come to Dunn County Transit in the future fast enough. So what we decided with Phoenix and WisDOT, myself, Kent, and John, they offered us one 50 kilowatt and one 25 kilowatt, which is perfect, and it hits our mark on. We have 1 fast charger for lunch hour. We still have 2 chargers at night, so nobody needs to come here at night or anything like that to plug the second one in. And it hits WisDOT's budget. And if in the future any other county department gets an electric vehicle, this 50 kilowatt has the touch screen and credit card reader, that kind of thing, to be able to do that for other county departments, which is pretty awesome. So any discussion on the electric bus chargers? Yes, sir.
Now, Austin, are they both a dual port then?
Yes, so
Awesome.
they are both a dual port. Like we talked a little bit last month. There's one CHAdeMO and then one CCS. So only one bus can be plugged in. The other cord on these, for anybody that doesn't know, will fit on the Tesla vehicles and a lot of other electric vehicles, but not 2 buses at once.
Okay.
So that is nice.
Still some really good flexibility, as you pointed out, if the county starts to move to some electrics in their fleet. So
Yes, definitely. With this 50, you can charge 2 vehicles at the same time. So you could have a bus plugged in and a car at the smaller 25 kilowatt capability. So
thank you. I yield.
now this is something I didn't touch on last month, but I think especially for the price that they are, I think is a good thing to touch on this month, is just the warranty info, and especially with these electric buses and vehicles that we've never been exposed to yet, to know what we have for a backup plan if something goes wrong with these, and something to not bankrupt us. Little Dunn County Transit over here is they have a very good warranty with them, and Phoenix really backs their product here, and bumper to bumper for 36,000, and everything else is 5 years, and the battery up to 150,000 miles. So I'm probably close to the usable life of this bus at 150,000. They back the battery right up to it. So pretty awesome, and we're pretty excited. So right now we are in the final stages. We'll get a PO cut this week. Myself and John McLaughlin and Kent have been working hard on that. Then we'll send it to John Schwarsky. And then as soon as the PO is cut, they can start building these chargers for us.
Austin, is it still, what's the quantity of buses still looking like? Because I know we were looking at wrangling another transit authority's allocation.
Yeah, so on that, WisDOT touched on that a little bit in our meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, and definitely no finite answer on that yet, but the FTA wanted more information from WisDOT on this new proposal that WisDOT had, so they're entertaining the idea, which is a big positive step. So it's definitely been all positive feedback on that. So more news to come on that, but it's looking good. All right. So ridership, this is the last full month that we had of all of our routes. We did about 3 days in May, so that'll be a lot different for what we had for ridership for the Stout route and community route. But Stout route was down about 500 riders in April with the warmer weather, down to about 4,400. Doorstop and Red Cedar increased by 50, up to right around 400 in April, which is, it's good to see that continually to increase every single month. And then the community route ridership decreased about 150 with the warmer weather as well, with that being very supplemental of the Stout route. Okay, so this is the big talking point of today. And I'd really like some feedback from whoever is interested in speaking on this. But right now on the left top side of the screen is the current community route. And Darren and I talked a few months back when winter break came on how to decipher this thing and how to kind of portray it to the college kids for when they're trying to get up to Walmart and stuff like that, when we didn't have the Stout route going and kids even trying to get from North Campus to South Campus during winter break. The current top schedule there in the gray and the blue is, even for myself, knowing this route inside and out is pretty hard to decipher. We wanted to get it simple. Right now, the first half, this is the easiest way to remember how the route works. The first half of every even hour, other than noon, goes to the south side of town. The second half of every hour goes to the north side of town. And then the first half of every odd hour plus noon goes to the east side of town. So that's kind of easy to remember, but still, when you start looking at the schedule, very hard to understand. And this old schedule stops at the government center 11 times in one day. That's where the old Dunn County Transit headquarters was back a few years ago, but it's not anymore. This new proposed route on the right side of the screen always starts at the UW library at the top of every hour. This hits every location at the same exact time every hour. And this 1 hour loop works. It's been tested in our software. It's been tested on the road, and it works. The only difference with this route compared to the stops that we had in the past, it is, so keep in mind, we can stop at anywhere along the route, even though it's not a stop here, to drop somebody off or pick somebody out. It's called a flag stop. So, for example, the CVTC and Job Center, that is on the schedule as a flag stop, and we will stop there if someone is sitting at that bus stop. The Community Services Center as well, but if somebody needs to stop at Prevea, that's literally right on the route, and that is not on the schedule, but we would stop there and pick somebody up if they flag the bus. The only other change in this is the bus would not be going to the UW library halfway through the hour just to be able to make this loop in 1 hour, but it's at the top of the hour, and it's also at the clock tower, stop number 10, which is halfway between North Campus and South Campus, 34 minutes after every hour. We had to give a little, take a little to be able to get this to work in an hour. The other change we could make, Darren, to this is we could stop at Red Cedar instead at 34 minutes or so. But I think the clock tower, people are used to getting on there to going north. Other than that, everything else is the same, other than there is no shops off Broadway stop, which is right across the street from Marketplace. And if somebody needs to get off there, we can deviate up to 3/4 of a mile on this community route. And that's one parking lot away. It wouldn't be a big deal, but again, we needed to make this work in an hour. And I think it's a very good route and it's very simple. And I really think it will increase ridership for our community members through this new route. And yeah, so love to hear some discussion and comments and concerns, anything like that on this.
Somebody did a fair amount of bus riding I'll think a little bit. As somebody did a fair amount of bus riding in cities all over the place when I'm traveling, this looks very solid, the kind of thing I like to see with the bus stuff. So 2 thumbs up for me.
Sounds good.
Anyone
I
else?
agree. I think it looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot simpler,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Aaron, do you have thoughts on it for students?
Yeah, well, I will certainly take this to the Stout Bus Group right away. Have them take a look at it. I think there's going to be some very positive response in a lot of ways because of the simplicity of the grid and the schedule. And I think there's some kind of, as Austin says, some kind of intuitive simplicities as well as far as where the stops are. So we're going from an hour route, going to an hour route. Was it almost 2 previously?
So it was an hour loop, but it cut off a third
Cut
of the
off. Yeah,
city.
that's right. Yeah.
So let's say that we have a lot of clientele down in the Edgewood, Fricklin, McKeel's area. And the only time that these people can get on the bus is the 8 a.m. loop, the 10 a.m. loop,
Yeah.
or the 2 p.m. loop. And then they have to hit that last bus at, let's just say 3:37 from Walmart to get back at 4. So they technically, it's.
Yeah. Well, and then, I'm as a transit commission member and looking at it just more broadly from servicing the community. Yeah, when you describe that and some of the nuances of that and having to really think about and plan how you're going to get around, I think this one, I think it works better for everybody. It's a lot more simplistic. And as I'm looking at, you're right, there's still ample opportunity for flag stop service at some of these other places that we've had listed before, but also that could be logical flag stop locations. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this hits all the points of town, and it's not much different than the previous one, but we chopped it enough that we can do everything in 1 hour. So good.
Wow. Interesting anecdote. Last January, I think it was, the University of Stowe campus put out an RFP for outsourcing our student health services, and a big discussion whether or not they would require the outside vendor to use our facility, our student health building, or let it be off campus at Mayo, Marshfield, or Prevea, was the bus route. And when they looked at them, that group looked at the bus route, they decided to require the vendor that they had to provide services at our current student health building. So it may have been a different decision if this route would have been in front of their face.
Yeah, just looking at that, they 27 minutes on the route, then they'd be at Mayo.
Yeah.
Same with Marshfield. So
Marshfield, Prevea,
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know. I forgot about the history of the government center, so that makes a lot of sense.
I did when I came here last summer, I did the whole statistics back from 2019 of how many people actually got on at every one of these stops. And that was a big factor with doing this too. And making a few of these flag stops that we will stop, for example, at Sunset, which is next to the North Movie Theater and stuff. We will stop there if somebody's there, but if that is a spot where if the bus is running behind, it looks across the street, sees if anybody's there, goes south towards Marketplace. So
So in Edgewood and 28th is so that's our big link to that side of town then.
yep, Edgewood and 28th, and right now there is a bus stop. It's just a sign on the side of the road for Fricklin, and we still go past there, and we will stop obviously if somebody's there. It's so few and far between that it doesn't need to be on the route.
Well, I think this route could really simplify things for everybody and may increase ridership. And then as it gets established, sure is a lot cheaper to put in a small sign that says this is a common flag stop location, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a few that are just old, for example, on Oak Street, up in North Menominee from, I don't know who knows when, but there's a few that we have left over that we could put in here, but with a conversation with the city, I think that'd be easily doable when we get some better data on this too.
This looks great. Do you have anyone else want to weigh in on the? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Here's the other proposal. Current fare system. What we have now, a regular pass for anybody under 60 is $1.50. A day pass, which doesn't get purchased. I haven't seen one since I've been here. Elderly and disabled are 75 cents. Monthly pass, which is $45. If you do the math on that, you're an elderly person trying to ride the bus, you'll never make your money back off that. So I'm not sure where the $45 came from, and that doesn't get purchased very often at all either. And then current UW Stoughton staff, it's a supplemental free service to them as well for the community bus. My proposal and why. A proposed free fare system for the community bus and the community members. There's a bunch of other transit agencies that do this, but some that do, some that don't. But benefits of this obviously is increased ridership. It's an added benefit for low-income community members for us. Another great, safe way to effectively get around town, especially with this new route. Chief of Police Atkinson called us up a few weeks ago asking for what if we had any ideas in how to help some of these community members as well that didn't have another option to get around town. And I said this was in the potential works, and he thought it was a pretty awesome idea too. With this easing pressure off the doorstop route / Red Cedar, especially in the summer months, and you see every month it's getting 50 riders more, especially with things slowly opening back up. This would ease the pressure off the doorstop route with an efficient community route. People could take that instead to Walmart from the south side of town, almost just as quick as the doorstop route. And the city pays us a quarterly subsidy that to provide this service. So here's the other perspective is we brought in $1,800 in 2020 on the community route compared to 30,000 on the doorstop route. And even on a normal year, it was 3,400 on the community and 40,000. So it's sitting at about 10% of what the doorstop brings in. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the bucket. And when it takes two people count those 100 pennies bi-weekly and stuff like that. It literally just in the time it takes and the money it takes payroll wise to count all this change and stuff, that by itself is this outweighs the income brought in by that route. So it's kind of a win-win to me, being able to offer this to the community members with these benefits. Discussion on this.
We can try it for a year or whatever, and we can always change it back if we feel it's not working. You know, if we feel we need the revenue. Robin?
I was just wondering, are the doorstop route, they still will be charged? It's just free for the community?
So the doorstop route, the door-to-door elderly and disabled service, that's $3 per person for everybody per trip one way. So this community route would be the only fare system changed to free.
Okay.
And yes. Darren.
I see it's on our agenda as a possibility of considering taking action. Would it cause you any difficulties or implementation problems if it was delayed for until next month?
No.
No? Okay. And I only asked that because I just, I'm wondering if a person should consider this more or shop it with constituents. But overall, I mean, I think the bottom line is it costs more to count the money is a big consideration. I think that, yeah, you can always change it, and especially if ridership takes off. And I think if you do change it in the future, it may be to some sort of card system, fare card system that dovetails with your tablets or something like that, that eases that burden of the cash handling, which is just a nightmare. I run cash handling myself. So yeah, I think my overall reactions are positive. Thank you.
I'd love to see it tried. Is that going to impact funding by the care stuff or something like that?
It will not. That was a question that, and I talked with Kent on that. He's a lot more versed with that than I am. And it's such a drop in the bucket. I believe it would actually positively impact us because of ridership going up. Ridership is very slim when it's not a supplemental stout bus. When we're taking the community members to the other parts of town, it's sometimes down, or most of the time down in the single digits per day when it's a paying customer. So the only way is up to me for ridership. So it will positively impact the ridership that we report to WisDOT. It'll be a small decrease income wise reported to WisDOT. But if this is able to take pressure off the doorstop, one ride on doorstop was 2 regular fares on the community bus. So it's hard to foresee how that will impact how many more people we're able to transport doorstop wise, but with how efficient that route has become and how we are scheduling riders, it's working. So it should work positively in both income and ridership wise.
Darren, you had something else to add?
Yeah, I just sorry about that. I have 2 more points I think in favor. One is it could be a really great way to introduce the new route, kind of a double whammy marketing move. And 2, you talked about Chief Atkinson calling, and I do think it speaks to, and I'm on the library board too, and we've talked about the library providing structure to the social safety net of our community. And I think actually in the long run, that service and what it can provide to community members that are in need of that service and could actually save the county money in the long run because we're keeping people moving in a positive direction. And when they have hurdles, and often they go in a negative direction that costs more in the long run. So with that being said, I mean, with all the positives, I'd be ready to vote on this today. So I yield.
So we are technically still in staff report. Does anyone else have any questions on that? And if not, Austin, move on to wherever you think the next point your staff report is, and then we'll come back to this at the exit.
Title VI update. Well, we touched on this last month, and it is added to the agenda this month just to vote on. All it did is we just updated to myself as a point of contact, and we updated information to be current.
Okay.
So that's where I am at for my presentation.
Thank you. Any further questions on the staff report?
If you're having trouble sleeping, reading those 25 pages of that Title VI will help.
Okay. Seeing none. Thanks for the staff report, Austin. We will move on to consideration for action to be taken by committee. Starting with review and approve revised Title VI plan. I would entertain a motion to approve the plan.
I move we approve that revised Title VI plan.
Motion by Brian, do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Martin, Joe. Discussion. All right, hearing none, we can go ahead to the vote. All those in favor of approving the plan as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Plan is approved. On to the consideration regarding the bus fare change, free fare to community routes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Darren, about second.
I'll second.
That's Richard. I meant to get the second there. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion beyond the discussion we had during the report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Looks like we get to try the experiment. Thank you, Austin. That sounds great. Consideration resolutions, ordinances. I don't have anything on that. Any final questions? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Transit is done for the day. Thank you all.
Thank you. Nice job, Austin.